I'm now recording.
So Johnny tells me that like there's a live audience and then there's going to be a, recorded earlier. What do they say on TV? It's recorded.
Previously recorded or whatever?
Yeah, it's like recorded in front of a live studio audience, but it's not being shown, So this is our
is our...
They see everything before it's edited, like pretty. Do we have a laugh track?
We will. My guest tonight is a journalist turned liturgist. I like that. Journalist turned liturgist. The author of a new book coming out next week. Oh my gosh, October 5th. That's insane. That's very exciting. She is a mother to 4 insane children. She lets me care for 2 dogs. I think that's a fair way to say it. And she's married to the most handsome man in the world. So that's, I think, a good, what would you add? What did I forget?
Nothing. That's it. That summarizes my entire life.
Born under a wandering star, Kayla Porter, soon to be Craig.
Oh, I don't think a lot of people here probably know my OG name.
Kayla Porter, the reporter.
That was a joke I got a lot when I was working at a newspaper. And every time I was like, oh, good one.
I had to pretend that it was funny. I like that.
I'm too nice. Oh my gosh, you have a little notebook.
I was gonna make cards that I could like tap.
Yes, they always.
I couldn't find any cardstock anywhere.
Oh, you should have asked me because I have cards.
That's what I needed when I came to the bathroom. But you were like, get out of here.
Oh, liar. You
were like,
also that was like 10 minutes away from when
I wrote this much earlier.
This is
all right.
Interesting.
You're an elder millennial, which means that you spent your middle school and high school years on a chat platform. We didn't have texting the way we have it now back then. And we've got people watching from all over the place. Yeah. And there's a difference of opinion on this. So what was your chat platform of choice? And what was your middle school screen name on that chat platform?
If anybody listens to the Upside Down podcast, they will know what my screen name was. But
podcaster, I forget that in your bio. I'm sorry.
Yes. So I used AIM.
Sure.
I called it AIM, not AIM. I didn't use MSN like a peasant. I used AOL Instant Messenger.
Yes.
And my screen name, that was kind of like my original, like in my formative years, like if I were to say like this is who I really am, it would be Glitter Sparkles with a Z 13.
It really gets to the core of who we are.
Yes.
I think our first screen
I think the first, like, screw the Enneagram. Go to your first screen name, and that will tell you everything you need to know about your
What are your core motivations? Well, Glitter Sparkles 13. I mean, it's pretty obvious that like fame, fortune, like that's definitely in my deepest ambition.
No, it's that my soul glitters.
Oh, and sparkles.
Perhaps lights the way.
Okay. Was this inspired by Smash Mouth? All that glitters is gold?
Ooh,
or
profound.
That's pretty profound.
No, but I did always have a lot of lyrics in my like profile.
Oh my gosh, you had to, right?
Yes.
That was like the original subtweet.
Oh,
like, subtweeting.
It was like, what is that? What is that mysterious Jimmy Eat World lyric? Like, who is that about?
Who are we talking about?
Yeah.
In the away message.
Like,
yes,
he'll never know. Who's he? What will he never know? Why will he never know?
God, look.
Okay, here's the deal. I always wanted to be a rich kid and have my away message go to sleep. Because like rich kids, when they're like, because they had their own computer. So sometimes we had a computer just in our family room. And I would put an away message up, and my dad would be like going to Napster to download Dixie Chicks.
The kids don't know.
And I'd be like, don't do it! I wanted to go to sleep.
I needed to get to sleep.
Yes. Yeah.
That tells me as much as Glitter Sparkles 13. All right. Here we go. You wrote a book for parents, and it's called To Light Their Way, and it's prayers and liturgies for parents. This is a reflective question now. Looking back on your own parents, what's like something that you can say like they really it's easy, I think, to like, crap on our childhood sometimes.
Yeah.
But what did your parents do really, really well? Like, you're sitting back and you're saying, man, like my parents, they really crushed it on this.
My parents' presence was such a big part of my family, like to the point where, as a teenager, you're like, oh my gosh, like enough. Like, I need to go
stop coming to my events.
I need to go put an away message up. Like, but really, I feel very grateful because now I realize what a privilege that is, what an honor that is to have parents that were always there,
right,
and made time. Because when you're a teenager, you think, I am the most important thing in my parents' world.
Sure.
Like, I am the moon and the stars.
The glitter and sparkle.
The glitter on the sparkle. Yeah. But really, I realize now as a parent, like parents are full humans that have a lot of different things going on and a lot of issues that they're trying to hold. And they really cared for me well just by their presence.
That's I like that. Your dad was a traveling salesman when you were young.
Yeah. He was in sales. Like when you say traveling sales, when you make
he sold encyclopedias. Scott was selling encyclopedias across the land.
Like, hey, ma'am, you see this here set? Gonna set you right.
You vacuum this carpet and then I'll vacuum this carpet and it's gonna pick up 20% more stuff. No. He's just a sales guy who traveled.
Right.
That's all.
Right. Like he had like a Midwest territory.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But he changed to spend more time. And I remember like in middle school, we lived in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And he was the one that oftentimes would take like me and my friends to the Mall of America.
Yeah.
And he'd give us these old school, here's another like elder millennial thing, but these old school like Nextel phones that could work as walkie-talkies. And it'd be like, beep, beep. And I'd be like, Dad, we're going to Abercrombie. And he'd be like, okay. But it's like presence, right? Yeah. Presence of taking your daughter and her 13-year-old friends to the mall and being just close enough, like,
I like that.
As a 13-year-old, I'm like, oh my gosh.
But
now I'm like, that actually means a ton and is formative to who I am now.
So that's the presence. They did a really good job. But what about like the elephant events? Can we talk about that?
I know there's a family member. Shout out to Abby watching.
Your face. I'm gonna freeze frame your face when I asked you. I said I was gonna get you with a gotcha.
Yeah, question. That is kind of a gotcha. Like already right away.
I'm halfway through my questions. I'm burning through this.
Okay, so my mom is creative, and she thought, so my daughter is being mischievous, so I'm gonna go ahead and fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
And play some mind games. Yeah. And so I was in timeout for making some bad decisions. And she decided there was like a vent up in my room and the door was shut and I was crying and yelling and telling her everything I thought about everything. And all of a sudden I hear, Kayla. And I was like, so the voice of the Lord. And she's like, Kayla, why are you doing this? And I was like, shook because I had like one of those nets that went in the corner of my bedroom where all the stuffed animals was.
Yeah, I wish that I was wealthy enough as a child to have one of those. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I was like, is that Teddy Ruxpin? Like, going on? Like, what's happening here? And it was like, I'm an elf who lives in the walls and you've been being naughty. And I was like, dang, what?
What's going on here?
Yeah. And so I talked to the elf who talked to me about my behavior. And now as an adult, I'm like, interesting, like clever, but also like a little messed up. Yeah.
10 out of 10, your mom, and I love Regina more than anything. It's like she wouldn't even admit it now. She'd be like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, no.
I never did that.
Totally disagree. She'd be like, yeah, I did do that. And that's one of the proudest moments of my motherhood journey. Yeah.
She would own it and brag about it. That was it. That was it. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
So you were raised Methodist and Presbyterian primarily.
Yeah, I don't think of being raised Methodist, but I was baptized in a Methodist church.
Sure.
My parents were married in a Methodist church. So I think, yeah, that's like some OG roots from the beginning. Yeah.
Running with the Methodists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Presbyterian.
We might have Methodists listening, so I'll save my normal Methodist jokes and won't get into it. But you're raised Methodist and Presbyterian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you met this weird guy, and he dragged you to a bunch of evangelical denominations, and he has deep regret about that. He really does. But now you've written this book of prayers, and it is being used by people from Anglicans to Southern Baptists. I'm sorry for the awkward lean over. I just have to keep letting people in. But it's being used in all these years. So it's Methodist, Presbyterian, you got dragged to, I mean, we hit, man, me and you, Assembly of God, Christian Missionary Alliance. We did like a 1-year stint in the Southern Baptist Church before we were like, we got to get ousted here. I mean, we've been all over the place.
Yeah.
And now your prayers are being used by Episcopalians and Southern Baptists, and it's all over. It's all over the board.
It's so cool.
So where are you at?
Yeah.
So now after all that,
yeah,
if I had to say, like, what's your relationship with the American church? Where are you at? Like, where are you at?
Well, I feel like my life is like this tapestry, right? And it's woven by all of these different strands of people that I've met, you know, even if I'm not in that denomination or tradition anymore, they have really brought color to my life in different ways. And so like my grandfather was Catholic, and he married my grandmother, who was Baptist. Then they raised a daughter who is Lutheran. Then she married a Methodist. Then they raised me Presbyterian. Then I married a Baptist. And like, so, you know, there's a lot of lines we draw in the sand, but I think what unites us is Christ. Like, the tent is big. And so I don't even know where I fit denominationally, because I feel at home in so many different traditions, even traditions that you think might not align, because I'm like, a lot of this is human made. Like, a lot of this is us creating rules, creating hierarchy, creating, you must believe this and you must sign on to this. But like, I really think it's a lot more basic than that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, to hold those kind of key tenets of faith and realize that you can appreciate things from many different perspectives and traditions and backgrounds. And I think that is what people are finding so uniting about liturgy. Like, liturgy is simply prayers of the people, right? And so you don't have to have this like theological treatise, you know, like it can just be entering into a conversation with God, a conversation that God is already having with you.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to bloviate and then we're going to do speed round. I think that, you know, historically denominations, and I mean, starting with the Reformation and then just going forward, it was like all the fights were about theology.
Right.
And now it really seems to me like the fight is
cultural.
Bang.
So cultural.
It's all cultural. And how are we going to treat other people? And how is our faith going to impact the way we live out, you know, every single day? And that really minimizes then theological differences.
Right.
I have more in common with maybe, this is a great time to say it. My friend who's a Catholic just entered. I have more in common with maybe a Catholic, even though theologically I've never embraced a lot of tenets of Catholicism, than I do with maybe a Methodist or a Presbyterian.
Sure.
If they're a certain kind of a person, have a certain type of idea about culture. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, why your prayers are resonant, is because they're not, it's because they're culturally connected. They're theologically rich and culturally connected. And it's either people are trying, they miss one or the other too often, but you're right there. So, all right, we're going to do speed round. I thought about setting a timer for this, but I'm not gonna. But I can't. I don't even have my phone. All right, so we're gonna do speed round. After speed round, if you have any questions, we can stop. We can pause and take some chat questions, or you can you can write in the chat, I want to talk, and we'll let you ask your question out loud. So I'm gonna do speed round.
Come on, be a brave soul.
Yeah, if you've had any questions pop up, either just say I'm ready to ask a question and I'll like get you unmuted.
And it doesn't have to be like, it could be about anything.
It could be about the elf on the shelf. That's fine. That's not it. If you can ask more gotcha questions, it doesn't have to be deep.
Really. I love gotcha questions.
Literally none of these are deep that I have. Look, this feels like very late night. I got the question.
Oh,
all right, here we go. I'm just gonna. I said this is like part Tonight Show, part on being. I'm switching out. Graham Norton. He's got a talk show in the UK.
I was kind of thinking this was like Between Two Ferns.
This is also that. Maybe that's the truest. Welcome to Between Two. I have a fig tree.
We have a fig tree. Yeah.
Between two fig trees. All right. Here we go. So I got these from a website on the internet.
Oh, don't say that.
Didn't even read them. All right.
So sketchy.
Let's go.
Interesting.
Texting or talking?
Talking.
Wow. If I said texting or phone call, what would you say?
Texting.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Talking is like in person chit chat.
Texting or boxing?
Oh my gosh. I do love boxing.
You do love boxing. All right. Favorite day of the week?
Okay, I have a story about this.
Yeah.
Can I tell a story or is it like too fast?
No, it's fine.
Okay. I remember in elementary school, our teacher was like, raise your hand for the day of the week. And I thought about it. I overthink. You might know this about me. I thought about it so much and I thought, it has to be Wednesday because Wednesday is the middle of the week. And I was like, I can't say Saturday because it's so basic.
It's too obvious.
And then everybody said Saturday and only one person said Wednesday.
But you stuck to your guns.
I did.
Was it like a roll call? Or was it like write it on a slip of paper, secret ballot?
No, it wasn't a secret ballot.
They do psychological studies that show if like everybody says something.
Well, not me.
You're not a follower. That's good. Yeah. All right. So
I felt like a nerd.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday. No. No. No, actually, I think it's Friday.
For sure.
Friday night is amazing. We got married on a Friday. Yeah.
Friday night. It is Friday. You're right. Favorite U.S. city?
Ooh, that's actually super difficult.
The internet speaks. I don't know. What's the
favorite U.S. city? That's a good question.
You're not good at speak round. I just have to say.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna say Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twins.
I agree. You're right. Worst U.S. city, Chicago. Name what?
I don't agree with that.
Well, that's fine. You're just sucking up to Chicago people. All right. Nickname that your parents used to call you?
Baby cakes.
Baby cakes. Favorite nickname that I ever gave you?
Boost.
Boost. I made that one up. It's not on the list. Last song that you streamed?
Oh, probably something from the Head and the Heart.
When can I get the To Light Their Way playlist on Spotify?
You know what? Nobody else knows that exists.
I searched for it. They do now. I searched for it.
It's private. It hasn't been let out into the world. Yeah,
We're on pins and needles.
I do have a To Light Their Way playlist, and I'm gonna say it's pretty good.
There you go. You heard it here first. Yeah. This is where the news drops, people. Right here. First celebrity crush.
I was thinking about this because
why?
Because I was listening to a podcast and it was a husband and wife.
Sure.
And he was making fun of her.
Sure.
And I was like, but legit, that is true. That's a whole generation.
Who was it?
Probably Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell.
I thought maybe you'd say JTT.
Well, I mean, JTT is classic, but I don't know. I watched Saved by the Bell at from a really young age, probably younger than made sense for me to be watching.
Yes.
It was the 90s.
We all were.
Yeah. We didn't have Netflix. We just watched what was on TV.
Exactly.
And I thought Zach was pretty cute.
Current celebrity crush. She pretends like she doesn't know.
I don't know. I would have said James Franco, but then he kind of was a creeper. So
did turn into a creeper. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Yeah,
I don't really. Kind of like nah.
No celebrity crushes.
Not at the moment.
Good for you.
Yeah, just Johnny Craig for me.
He is a well-known character. Favorite holiday that's not Christmas?
Is your birthday a holiday?
No,
my birthday.
Yeah, why not? Your birthday is your favorite holiday that's not Christmas?
That's why it stinks that it's in the same month.
How to tell you like gifts?
I just like honoring myself once a year. Is that too much to ask?
In an ideal world, how long would you like to take to get ready for like a date?
If I was like taking it real slow, probably like an hour.
How long does it actually take?
Not that long.
No.
15 minutes.
Fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is
my birthday buddy.
I knew it.
You didn't know I was gonna say that?
I did know that. Yes.
December 13th.
I did know you were going to say that. I absolutely knew you were going to say that. Yeah. So really your favorite holiday after Christmas is Taylor Swift's birthday.
Oh, you're rude. Rude.
You're older than Taylor Swift though, right? So it was yours.
Wow, the hits keep coming.
I'm just saying it was yours first.
It's not your birthday. You're old.
No, so it is what I'm saying. Okay. You
know
claimed it first. Yeah. Your parents did, I guess. Invisibility or super strength?
Probably invisibility, because
that is such a creepy thing to say.
I'm so nosy. Oh, like if your career that you study and go into is journalism, then it's definitely going to be invisibility, because you could spy on whoever you want. You could travel wherever you want.
True.
It's amazing. Right. Super strength is greedy.
Favorite childhood TV show?
Full House. And
is it ever appropriate? Wait, which one of the three adult men in Full House, if you were like, I'd like to be married to that man today, which one would it be? You married the looks of John Stamos and the personality of Joey. But like deep down, is that really where you wanted to land? Or are you like, give me some Bob Saget?
I love that you're like, personally identify as Uncle Jesse.
Just in the way I look and not in my demeanor. I owned the Uncle Joey part of myself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, sadly, Aunt Becky ended up also being a creeper.
Not a creeper, just
a creeper in terms of like lying and money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I think that I would have said that, have
just
mercy.
Oh, John.
No, John Stamos for sure.
All right, let's see if we got.
Mary Pops.
He's a stable. Danny Tanner is going to keep the car on the road.
He wasn't like Good Morning San Diego.
Yes, it's admirable.
He cleaned a lot.
All right, let's see if we got any questions here for Kayla.
I hope we do.
No. Look at that.
Scott downloading Dixie Chicks. Dude, he did.
Here we go.
Okay.
What are your favorite? Oh, that's good. Great question.
You gonna ask it?
Yeah. Okay. These people can't read. What are your favorite kind of prayers to write?
I think I have two types of prayers that I like to write. I like to write prayers that notice detail, that pay attention to the ordinary around us. Like I was writing a prayer outside and there was the sun was coming through on you wouldn't like this, but it was a spider web, and it was like
I hate spiders.
It was glittering and it was so beautiful and so intricate, and I just thought I slowed down enough to pay attention to the creation and the beauty that's all around me right now. And so I think when I can notice things and put that on the page, it's a gift to me personally.
Yeah.
And like a spiritual act in and of itself. And then I think when I feel overwhelmed with the world, when I see pictures, read headlines, and I feel things very deeply. And when I feel that deep in my soul, I don't know what to do except to cry out to God. And when I can do that, then I feel a little less alone. Yeah. And so I think being able to put words to those cries of the heart is soothing for me. So yeah.
I like that a lot. Did you try the pickle juice mocktail margarita? Look, I have to admit I did not, and neither did she. But the internet said if you really want because a margarita is kind of like a bitter.
Yeah, I like that kind of
sour.
Saltiness. Yeah.
It's not very much.
It sounds good.
Did you try it? Is what
I'm really curious if anybody did try it. I didn't share the recipe until like pretty close.
I tried it. It's not bad. Hey, way to experiment for all of us.
That's
I love
awesome.
What is? I mean, both. Get it. I went with blackberry margarita tonight, and Kayla had a raspberry margarita. So a little fruit goes a long way with those. What is your go-to grounding technique? Ooh.
That is a good question. Yeah. For me, in the stage that I find myself in, we're not often like getting the space without kids and dogs. Like we literally had to like shut doors.
Yes. All the way down the stairs. Yeah.
But breath prayers have been super helpful for me. And I find them especially good, like anything can be a breath prayer, but I find it like rooting to find a certain scripture and pull through that and just inhale, exhale, because I think I hold in a lot like in my body, and so it's really grounding for me to be able to like take a minute in whatever I'm doing. And I pray a lot when I'm changing Eliza's diaper. So probably the people watching know that Eliza has disabilities, and she is our beautiful daughter, and is still in diapers, and I can often feel like when it's creeping in and I'm like, another dirty diaper, and like everybody else when their kid is 5 is done changing diapers, and here I am, and it can start to feel really discouraging and frustrating. And in those moments I try to do get in tune with my breath, pray whatever breath prayer I thought of for the day, found for the day, and it just helps me get a little more grounded in my own body and my own reality. So
I like that.
Not really helpful. Yeah.
I like that. We got some more here. Okay. Why didn't you say Michael B. Jordan, RE celebrity crush? Yeah, that's a good point. That would have been a more honest thing to say.
That all of the Upside Down podcast ladies love Michael B. Jordan. I'm not unique.
Who doesn't?
I mean, men, women, we're all for Michael.
Yeah, we all love Michael B.
He's a good human.
We either want to be him or be with him. Okay. Or Zac Efron. There you go. Before the bleached hair, though, that's not a great look. Just miss you, and I'm so proud of you. That's all. Most Nicolette. That is Nick. You know this woman, Nick. I can't believe I didn't have that in my. That's
should be
cash money.
Sponsored by.
Sponsored. All right. So the question is, most clutch Aldi. You've had some Aldi finds. I'm actually very intrigued to see where this goes. And then I'm going to have a follow-up to it that's going to get you so worked up. You already know what it is.
No, I don't. And it better not be offensive to me.
It will be.
It's my favorite store. I love Aldi so much. I purchase from them once a week via Instacart.
True.
It shows like my one splurge is Aldi. Now that I say it, I hear it. But I love Aldi.
Please send money.
I love what they call the aisle of shame.
Yep.
And what the aisle of shame is all these like non-food items, and it's only there for like a week. So
sometimes a day. This stuff's out.
I'm like, so I buy it. This is a hot tip. I get it on Wednesdays, because Wednesdays when they stock, and it's when they get new produce and stuff too. So I shop every Wednesday. And probably my favorite item is an item that I sent you in to purchase during like the like beginning of the pandemic, when we were like wiping down groceries, and it was like, and you were like, you're gonna make me get COVID, and I was like,
yes, I am.
Double mask and like hold your breath and go in there and get me this. You know what it is?
It's the swing.
Yeah.
That sits in front of our house now.
Yeah, it's a rocker swing. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
We sit on it all the time.
During COVID, when I was all working from home, that was I called it my outside office.
Right. You put it on the deck. And now we have it in the front.
That is the most clutch all the time. 100%.
And it's amazing. And people would never know. But I mean, I have rugs from Aldi, like nice rugs. A rug up here, right there. Yeah. It's from Aldi. If you come to the Craigmore and you'll be like, oh, I like that. And I'll be like, Aldi.
Yeah, 30% of our stuff is from Aldi.
I love Aldi. Aldi is amazing.
But there's something that got away at Aldi once.
There are not enough margaritas in this world for me to talk about that topic.
Kayla didn't get her chair. She didn't get her chair.
It was this amazing boho, like egg chair. And there is a house by my parents' house that is bragging about it. They have it in front of their house on a tree. And every time I drive by, every time I talk about it.
Sarah's got a good question. Where did you get the name for the Craigmore?
That is a great question.
How did this come about to be?
Yeah, well, Johnny made fun of me because he's like, you're going to name our home that we live in.
I still think it's weird.
I don't know. I crowdsourced the interwebs and I had some different ideas. I'm like, if we live in this big, beautiful, old, weird, falling apart house, we need to have a name for it. And then I had to make sure that the hashtag hadn't been used other places. So that really helped narrow it down. But, crowdsourcing, I wanted to hear what other people had to say. And like, I had been thinking Craigmore. And then I think it was Nathan, my friend Nathan was like, how about the Craigmore? And I was like,
makes it more stately.
There it is. Yeah. And actually, I didn't tell you this, but I actually ordered a stamp.
Oh gosh.
Because they were having a sale. And now the stamp says the Craigmore and it has our address. I'm going to use that for Christmas cards.
Make sure you get on the Christmas card list. So you can
Abby knows. Abby knows.
All right, this is a deep one. I'm gonna say I'm surprised I wrote this down, and I'm being serious. You were exposed to grief. I feel like earlier maybe than a lot of people get exposed to grief. I think you don't remember it, but you were a baby when your grandma died, right?
I was in the womb.
You were in the womb, but it had a lasting impact on your family, right? You grew up in
my dad was 21 when he lost his mom.
Yeah, very tragic. And then your grandpa. You remember that?
Yeah.
You were very young.
And my 4th grade teacher.
And then I had that on the list as well. You're the teacher that tragically died. What kind of impact does that, like, awareness of mortality and death, like what kind of impact does that have on a kid and how you feel like maybe you've grown up?
Hard question, Johnny. I don't know. I don't know. I remember when my grandpa died feeling like I couldn't cry in front of other people because I didn't want them to feel bad for me because I felt really bad for my mom and my grandma.
How old were you?
I was in elementary school, like upper element, like younger than Joseph.
And you had that kind of feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember, I think about that a lot, that kids are so perceptive and hold so much. And I feel like oftentimes, as grownups, we think like, oh, kids are resilient or kids aren't feeling this, or, we're so wrapped up in our own worlds, but kids have a lot of thoughts and emotions. And I remember I couldn't go to my teacher's. She passed unexpectedly on Mother's Day on the weekend. So we came back on Monday and she was gone. Wow. And I remember I went to the visitation and couldn't go to the funeral because my great grandpa had died. So I had to go to his funeral instead of her funeral. And I remember as I was walking from the visitation, and that was probably my first experience with death face to face, there was this woman who was visibly upset, and she was so sad that I had to be there. And she was like, I remember her saying this. She was like, when I was a child, I thought life was like a dollhouse. And I remember thinking, like, what a weird thing to say to me, like the stranger saying this. But like now as an adult, I realized that she wasn't as much sad for herself as she was sad for all of us students. And like what we had to go through. And I remember we planned, it was in the spring, she died on Mother's Day of a heart attack. And I remember we planted a tree for her and then performed some music as 4th and 5th graders do.
Certainly.
And I remember they had us take a picture for the yearbook. And when we got the yearbook, the picture is the most sad thing I've ever seen in my life. So we're sad. All like, very sad. Yeah, like me in January, who was like the maid of honor at our wedding, we're just like it's just, I don't know, like it's so heavy to hold as a child, but I'm grateful for, like, I still have the journal that I wrote in. And they gave us space to process and like treated our feelings as valid feelings. And I hope that I allow that space in our own kids. I think sometimes you're probably like, okay, you're indulging them too much, but maybe that comes from me feeling like in some ways there were moments in my life where I wasn't indulged enough. So,
yeah, I didn't lose anybody until I was 16 years old. And I was just reflecting on what kind of impact it has when you are exposed to grief so young.
And I remember thinking like in some way, did I think a dark thought that like made that happen? Because I remember thinking my 5th grade teacher's handwriting was impeccable, and it was all, or 4th grade, it was all over the classroom. And I remember thinking, what happens to your handwriting when you die? Like, what a weird thought to think. And this was before she died.
Right. And
then she died. And I was like, did I like create that by thinking that? Like, that's something a kid thinks, you know? Like, it's so like, as an adult, you're like, no, that's not how things work. But as a kid, you're like, so it was like, oh, nobody knows. Like, nobody knows that I had thought that. Like,
right.
And then I remember when my grandpa died, we went to my grandma's house, and like my mom, went to the hospital right away and kind of to be with him. And I remember there was a phone book open, and I remember looking like, why is this phone book open? And it was to the number to the hospital. And I remember like this moment of being a kid, like my dad had gotten us Burger King kids meals, which I was like, score. Like I got a Rugrats watch, which turns out was like burning kids, so we had to get rid of the Burger King watch.
That's like now you're layering grief. Now you're layering grief because now you can't keep the watch.
Right.
God, that's horrible.
So I remember sitting there, like standing there, looking at this, realizing it was a moment in time.
Sure.
And not knowing, it just hasn't
been changed.
Yeah, like should I shut the phone book? Should I leave it open? And just having this kind of like crisis as like a young child. Yeah. So
I feel like our son Joseph holds things deeply. Yeah. I love that you have memories.
Yeah, that's
I don't have memories.
That's something to talk about.
That's its own problem. Yeah, that's fine. That'll be a different happy hour. So what Enneagram are you? And if people here are not familiar with the Enneagram, that's okay. The Enneagram it's not a personality test, but it gets to some of the same ideas as a personality test. There's 9 types. The types have to do with what are your core motivations and how do you process the world around you, okay? We're not gonna get into all the numbers, but for those who do know, what Enneagram number are you? And then what is the Enneagram number that you would most like to be having a margarita happy hour IRL with?
Oh, I like that question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm an 8.
Oh, and then tell them about
I'm an 8. And if you want to know more about that, I did an interview with a popular Enneagram podcast that you probably heard of if you're familiar with the Enneagram. I don't know if I can say. Can I say?
I don't know.
You just kind of said.
I didn't say anything.
Didn't hear from me.
There's no playlist on Spotify for the book, and there's no podcast with at all.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm an 8. A lot of people have said you can't be an 8 because the 8s that I know are assholes. I hope that's okay to say on your show.
Somebody said, yeah, for sure. Somebody said that. Somebody was surprised that I was an 8, and I just felt like you probably don't know me because I am what you just said.
No,
that I can't say, but yeah.
So we are the same number, which is odd. I don't think 8s and 8s normally like couple. I think that
there's too much anger in this system.
I think a lot of 8s, people know a lot of 8s that typically are very unhealthy.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like personified very masculine.
Mm-hmm.
But I do really resonate with like those core parts of like, it can be really hard to be vulnerable. And also like honoring the vulnerability of another is actually really natural. Because you want to care for others.
Right.
You want to defend those who need defended. You want to protect those. Those are things that I really, really resonate with. And actually, as we were talking about like my childhood experiences with death, I'm like, maybe those were more formative than I thought they were.
You were very vulnerable, I will say.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. That was a terrible question to ask you without telling you I was going to ask you. But like, I wanted to get you a little off. Yeah.
I like that actually. Yeah. I think a lot of times I am the person asking the questions to people.
Sure.
I think I'm a really good listener. That tends to be a strength of mine. You always say I keep the conversation going way too long. You're like, I'm ready to leave, and you keep asking somebody another question.
And it's questions, and it's conversations. It's the kind of conversations you don't want to be in. Like with the person who's like talking to you on the street about like conspiracy theories or something, and you're just like, yeah, great, okay, I gotta run. And Kayla's like, but tell me more about that. I would love to hear more about your ideas.
I don't know. I just think a lot of people don't ever have anybody to listen to them. Yeah. So I find myself a lot of times in that seat, like entering into being the person that is listening, and I like that. So it's nice to have somebody asking you a question.
Yeah. So what's the number you want to get a drink with?
I get along with 4s really well.
Yes.
And
4s, tell people
4s are kind of like the artistic, misunderstood soul.
Yes.
That's a very simple explanation.
Like if I made a joke about the 4 and a 4 was listening, they'd be so hurt by that.
Yeah, they would. Yeah. A lot of 4s say it's like, I feel like I'm like on the outside looking in. But like
if you're a 4, you are on the outside looking into this conversation, which is awkward.
So me and you both did theater.
Yeah.
Shocking. And
and
I wanted to be like dramatic theater person.
Sure.
Like I wanted to be a little emo, but I wasn't. I was like wearing American Eagle polos.
Yeah, you were going to Abercrombie with your friends.
Right.
Telling your dad.
Yeah, sure. I wasn't, but it's like the 4 is like really in touch with that artistic, deeply emotional.
Kat Kaya.
Yes. I love 4s.
Kat is wonderful.
Yeah. But it's always fun to hang out with 7s too.
Oh wow, because 7s are like the life of the party.
Yeah.
They're like, you can never outrun a 7, which is nice.
And we both have 7 wings.
Yes, which is why we're both okay with doing this.
Yeah.
That's all my questions.
Okay.
So I'm gonna open it back up. You can unmute yourself and shout a question. That'd be fine, or you can type another question in if you have one. I'll just vamp for a second while people are maybe thinking about what they want to do question wise, and say thank you, Kayla, for being willing.
Yeah, your first ever.
Yes.
I didn't know if I should say when I shared on Instagram, it's my husband. So I tried to
Then people are like not interested. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you said, but he's like John Stamos plus Joey.
Where's the puppet?
Oh my God. I should get a puppet that I forgot.
That could be like a signature happy hour. So you're going to do other guests with other drinks every week.
Every week is a different happy hour. Okay. So follow the digital community on Instagram, but the easiest way is really to join the digital community. It's pretty low key. That sounds like a thing, but it's really low key. You can show up and never say a word, and that's totally fine. It doesn't cost anything,
right?
And it's just basically the digital community is a bunch of people who are trying to figure out what it means to seek out spiritual fullness when organized religion, when church has kind of like become a place where we don't experience spiritual fullness. So if that sounds like something that maybe you're going through, maybe the digital community is a good space for you. We're going to do these. We have another one next week with Jen Morrow, which is going to be awesome. She's going to be so good. And then we have October, we have Elisa Molina who's coming in for a happy hour. Oh my gosh.
I love Elisa. She's one of my co-hosts. She's amazing.
Every week comes with a drink recipe and a mocktail recipe that Britta can test out for us, which is wonderful.
I appreciate that because like don't always,
not everybody drinks. And so we try to have one of each for everybody. So that's kind of the gist of what we have going on here. Car that Johnny owned that you hated most. Oh yeah, that's a good question. I've had many vehicles. I already know what she's going to say. I've had many vehicles in our life together.
Honestly,
Kayla.
I'm like a little triggered just thinking about how much I hated this vehicle because we almost died in it because
that is too dramatic.
You didn't know how to drive it.
No, that's not accurate on multiple fronts, but go ahead, tell your story.
Johnny had this red rusty Corolla from like the 80s and it was a stick.
It was my first stick shift.
Yeah. And last.
That's also true.
And you picked me up in my freshman college dorm and you were like, and like
working out the kinks.
It was like the sounds it was making.
It wasn't good.
It was huffing.
Yeah.
It was puffing.
Yeah.
We're like in there.
It was stalled out.
And then it stalled out on us. And we could have got crashed into.
It was Sunday morning.
We are living miracles. Like so yeah, that was a bad one.
This has all been recorded and will be produced and put back out. And still be an opportunity to watch it later. Kayla was full of wit and wisdom. Oh my gosh. Wit, girl. Oh my gosh. So that's all. That's it. That's all we're gonna do. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We'll keep it on for like 5 more minutes if you just want to hang out and chat with each other or with us. But the show, I'm going to hit and record so that the show will be on.
So I was watching a video in my bathroom trying to have like a minute of peace and Johnny comes in and he's like, "Are you watching a makeup tutorial?"
And the answer was
no.
Essentially yes.
Essentially no.
Okay.
I got influenced with these. Never mind. We don't need to talk about it. But I'm
it's
just
adjacent. Is all I'm saying.
I have no privacy.
It's adjacent.
You're there asking me about if I'm watching makeup. If you thought I was watching a makeup tutorial, why would I want you in the bathroom?
I was looking for something in the bathroom. I didn't come in to chat. I came in because I needed something.
You're like the kids. As soon as I start doing something, you're there.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.